I just remember when the news broke that I was super excited and I could still pursue that dream of mine. I still had the ability to go out there and compete for a national title.
I was grateful for the relaunch for the PWBA Tour when it actually came back, being able to pursue my dreams and win titles. I'm just fortunate that we're back here today.
There's so many girls out there now, been out there for a few years, some that are just coming up, and some are gonna be great stars. And you want to see this tour go on for a long time.
This is an historic night for professional bowling. The PWBA Tour is back.
Zavala, another strike, and she is the champion of the 2022 PWBA Tour Championship. Yeah! Legend lives on. What a moment for Shannon O'Keefe. Gets another, finally. She's got a trophy in her arms again. We are on the verge of yet another chapter of this incredible story.
To clinch her second title of the season. Indeed. Brandon. There it is. Nice. Bang.
Winning shot. Simo.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Yorktown Lanes. It is the site of the 2025 PWBA BowlTV Open. Emil Williams Jr. alongside Sydney Brummett. And Sid, it was a fantastic position round. There were 5 spots. Of course, 2 of them had kind of been determined at that point, but from 3rd all the way down to 8th, we had some opportunity for a lot of players in the end. Jordan Snodgrass, Shannon Pluhowski end up in the 4-5. Sherry Tan, your number 1 seed, New Wei Finn, the number 2 seed, and the living legend Kelly Kulick making back-to-back shows. Sid, first for our opening match, Shannon Pluhowski, Jordan Snodgrass. Shannon went undefeated in match play, and that kind of set the tone for what we might see here tonight.
Yeah, of course. And then we also, on the other hand, saw Jordan never really get comfortable during match play. I think with the extended practice, the opportunity to get more comfortable in these warm-up pairs, we're going to see an incredible opening match.
Kelly Kulick looked like things were going to go her way. She was fantastic in round 1, had some late troubles in the last couple of games. And then when we started round 2 this afternoon, there was some struggles, a couple of 170 games, and it felt like she just had to get to the finish line. Sid, she's nearly there. She's right there, 10 meters left. Can she get to the finish line tonight in her back-to-back show?
There's no doubt about it. Kelly has more adversity than every other person on this TV show tonight, simply because she's bowled every game so far this week. She's going to be more mentally exhausted than everybody else. It's going to be, is she able to overcome that tonight?
And finally, our 2 Singaporean players, Sherry Tan, the top seed, 5-2 lifetime from that position. New Wei Finn, the number 2 seed. 2 players who know how to bowl, know exactly what to do if they end up facing each other. That should be fun, but we got a long way to get there. Sherry Tan, though, 268 in average for 4 games, or 267 earlier this morning. 1 game to win the title. We know her track record. What do you think?
Oh, you know, I was sitting at dinner with my family, and I said, I feel like it's Sherry Tan's time to do it for a 6th time to win from that number 1 seed.
We will find out. Let's take you to the lanes here as we get set and ready. Jordan Snodgrass prepared, ready, and here we go. First shot on the lanes, and it is 10 for Jordan Snodgrass, trying to win for the first time as a married woman. It's a good replay early. Now quickly to Shannon Pluhowski. I got to tell you, this match, Sid, just because A, we might see a ton of strikes, it was a high scoring pace, and B, 2 of the fastest players who are going to bowl.
That's true. I hadn't thought about that part of it. They both get up there and go. They're ready.
Quick 4-7 here for Pluhowski. Shannon had some trouble with carry earlier this morning. And we talked to Jason Wojnar. Spencer did a great job in the interview this morning in regards to when Shannon, of course, following Sherry Tan, two lefties on the show, she started to inhibit some tough carry. They made some adjustments, talked about some different bowling balls, of course, as well. Ended up back into the Purple Hammer, and a 6-0 record, Sid, speaks for itself, of course.
Yeah, no doubt. She did start with reactive this afternoon, but quickly got into the purple, I think around frame 6 of game 1, and went off the sheet that game to get the first win of the evening block. So no doubt she's going to start with it here tonight to give herself an opportunity to win this match and move on.
And the light mixer that's carried a ton here at Yorktown this week.
Great shot here from Shan. Most important thing on this 47-foot oil pattern is that your angles are in front of you. If you're going to do anything, that is the only rule.
Again, Pluhowski, the 4th seed. Snodgrass, the 5th seed. Jordan went 5-1 this morning, 2-4 in the afternoon. And that's the most popular lead, I think, on this pattern, Sid. You have to get it going, of course, right to left. And when it's going right ever so slightly, that possibility exists.
Yeah, right ever so slightly, or even also a little firm, or you miss it at the bottom. There are tons of different ways to leave a 2-10 combination on this pattern.
Certainly anticipate count here. And count indeed happened. All right, so open frame there for Snodgrass. For Jordan, again, a tale of 2 rounds, but talking about getting to the finish line, she did the exact same thing, had to hold on. That position round, she defeated Jane Sin, shot 224 in the process, grabbed the 30 bonus pins, but Rocio Restrepo, who finished 6th, had an opportunity to still make the show. If Ro had thrown all 3 in the 10th frame, those two could have tied for the 5th spot, and we would have had a roll-off. Frame 3. And a little right down Main Street, and that's been the common theme for folks if you've watched or haven't watched this event in particular on this 47-foot lane condition.
Yeah, your feet almost feel right of your target the entire time. Even as the lanes break down and you migrate further left to find more oil in the front part of the lane, your angles still remain in front of you.
We know one player obviously on this show, a couple, but Shannon Pluhowski, no problem doing that. You see her nudged up about as close as you can get to the ball return. Good lane side look. And the 7-pin falls late. Early double for Pluhowski. Again, our number 3 seed, Kelly Kulick. So Shannon's taking a look at that tape. She was changing tape after, I believe, the first frame, or at least adjusting it. So that's been a common thing today, too. Kelly went through a couple of tape changes with her spare ball earlier today.
It's a frozen tundra outside today. And then you get in here and you start moving around. Hand's going to change. It's the beautiful thing about tape. You can adjust your thumb so it feels just right on every shot.
It's good break there, just the single pin. For Pluhowski. multi-time champion, 2-time major winner. And starts here to the match. Again, number 3 seed Kelly Kulick. The number 2 seed tonight is Nu Wei Fan of Singapore. Top seed Sherry Tan, also of Singapore. Interesting. We came into this week talking about that 8 players who are active who had 5 titles. Stephanie Zavala was one of those players. She won the Cleveland Open earlier this week. And now Snodgrass, great shot, also sitting on 5 titles currently. She too can grab title number 6. We also entered here, Sid, as you take a look at this shot, first and foremost, see the subtle difference the last time she was up on this lane, leaving that 2-8-10.
Yeah, last time was just more up the lane. This one's more at the 1-3. You know, if you were looking at Specto, you'd almost have a positive launch angle, which we don't see very often. But on this 47 feet, 24.48 milliliter pattern, you have to. There's no option. The drop brush is 45 feet, meaning it's going to play pretty much true to 47 feet, 47, 46. But it almost looks like a hammerhead shark in a way. Those extra 2-2s at the end of the pattern are what are kind of rude, right? They make you feel like you have to be perfect. And Hoagland is known for those. When he first started designing patterns out here and they started getting a bit weird, those 2-2s, quote unquote, speed bumps, that's what everybody wanted to talk about. They make it so the ball has to exit the pattern in the correct direction, or that 210 is going to be staring you in the face every single time.
Good spare for Jordan Snodgrass. Pluhowski still with the early advantage. 12-pin lead. Purple Hammer, the ball of choice here for Pluhowski, who made the big jump just outside of the number, of course, into in it. Uh-oh. Hook. Quick look at that thumb there for Pluhowski.
Yeah, and actually a bit of frustration from her, you know, vocally that we don't normally hear. It's frustrating when you're this high level of a player to have this many errant shots in 5 frames. Of course, a couple of them good, but this pattern is playable, and she knows it.
Well, she had to have it. And kind of left no stone unturned here this afternoon. Here's the line: 226, 212, 211, 279, and that was the moment, if you will. 235 and then 225. She defeated Kelly Kulick in the position round. It came down to players who were needing to win matches, especially in the position round. And then for Pluhowski, it was about big games late. Good shot. Now can Jordan Richard respond? Oh, excuse me, I knew I was going to do that tonight. Can Jordan Snodgrass respond? Parents are in attendance as well, so is husband Frank. Mixer.
Do you know what I just noticed? We're bowling on the pair with her banner. It's always good vibes, I hear. As a champion, bowling on your pair with your banner on it. Every time somebody wins out here on tour, they are awarded a championship banner. They get hung up at every event. Follow us around the country as we bowl.
And Jordan, no stranger to winning here at Yorktown. Won here in 2023. She actually had won 2 titles in a row. It was the second of those two at the time, part of her 3-win Player of the Year season. 2018 Rookie of the Year, 2023 Player of the Year, and finds herself with a double here in frames 6 and 7. Five titles for Jordan, still looking for that first major. Something that Pluhowski knows a little bit about. 2-time major champion. Won the Queens in 2006, the Tour Championship in 2021. Took home 2 titles last year. Speaking of Pluhowski, coming off a very nice season. It's the 5 out. Now just the 10 pin.
What's so hard about the start of Shannon's game with the errant shots is if there was an adjustment to be made, now she's not aware of it. That's what's so hard, because that was a great shot. But it's possible these two lanes are just a bit different, and because of the subpar for Shannon execution, it didn't allow her to see it. She only has one more frame on that right lane, however. I'm sure she'll make a small adjustment next time to have a better opportunity to get all 10.
And it looks like it's going to be very important, too, because Jordan's max right now is 247. And Pluhowski's max 238. Good look at the pre-shot routine. Kelly Kulick waiting in the wings. Trophy on your right. Good view. And that one just kind of wiggled down lane 2. Sid.
Yeah, I was leaning back in my chair a bit. It needed to hook, that's for sure. Needed to be more at the 1-2, less up the lane. And I know that's not something we see on tour very often. It is what is necessary here tonight.
So Jordan Snodgrass can step up here in frames 8 and 9. And make Shannon really have to throw them all the last 4 to have a chance here in this match. Again, opening match here, BowlTV Open Step Ladder Finals. Emil Williams Jr., Sydney Brummett, Mike Flanagan, Spencer Mosier, Curtis Von Kruger, Caleb Smiley handling our video production. Another one. Good shot. Clutch shot right there, Sid.
Yeah, it's as good as it gets. You know, I've been competing against Jordan since I was in high school. Doesn't really look a lot different in that when pressure situations popped up, even when we were little, she was clutch all the time. I felt like she won so often, and it was no surprise when we came out on tour that nothing was changing. Because the beautiful thing about Jordan is she knows exactly who she is. And she just does that, both as a player and as a person.
29 years of age. Of course, her family owns 10 Pin Alley. Looking for another in the 9. The mixer.
What's going to be interesting about this left lane, we saw the exact same thing on our show just a few days ago. That left lane will start to hook a bit early. We saw the last one for Jordan have a light shaker. That one looks like it doesn't hook. More than likely that's because it's hooking too early. Those fronts go away pretty quickly in this building.
Oh, Shannon needing them all. That's a great start. There is a path for Pluhowski here. She brings all 3 in the 10th. Max score now 227. It would force Jordan to get the first one in the 10th. 9 spare strike there would be 226 for Snodgrass.
Yeah, it looks like Shannon's starting to feel a bit more comfortable. It's unfortunate that it took her this long to feel good with her hand in the ball. That's always the most frustrating thing as a player.
First shot, 10th frame, gotta have it. Mixer good. Again, all of them leave Shannon at 227. Forces Jordan to get the first strike in the 10th frame. Pluhowski has been in these moments so many times. 25 straight years on Team USA. She is 42 years old. 4 titles, of course, the PWBA, but all across the board. She's won at every single level, multi-time Team USA trials, Ohio State USBC Hall of Famer, Ohio State Queens champ. She's won everything you could win. And she will take a moment. She will reset.
I feel like she takes about the same amount of time as one person to set up and restart.
Will it work? Yes, it will.
As good as it gets. I get that it's not perfect through the pins. I think that's what's hard for a lot of people sometimes, and something that the women this event we had to just get over. The light shakers were incredible, and you had to be okay with it and know that more than likely it meant you were doing the right thing. Your ball was rolling in the right spot, exiting the pattern the right way.
Gotta have it. Didn't like it at all. 8. Now all of a sudden 9 spare strike is a winner. So there are 2 paths here for Snodgrass, but she would love door number 1, which is all 10 down. Jordan Snodgrass. Strike here, she advances to face Kelly Kulick. Did not like it. Oh my goodness. And Jordan has to make it now for a possibility of a tie. 210 has to make it and strike on the fill for a tie possibility. Got a chance, bounce off the curtain, no. And Snodgrass falls to Pluhowski, 225 to 213.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get a huge round of applause for our 5th place finisher, Ms. Jordan Snodgrass.
Like Shannon Pluhowski, it's an opportunity. He's going to go down. Think about strategy with Brunswick ball rep Jason Wojnar, but real quickly, Sid, react to what we just saw. A shot that certainly, it looked right. Did you see the same thing?
Yeah, it looked like her footing was a bit off, maybe slipped a bit. Possible, got around it early. You know, sometimes Jordan gets ahead of herself and has to pull down from the top. That would be my biggest guess about what happened. And on this pattern, you're going to pay full price. I think if we're bowling on something that's a couple feet shorter, maybe a few less mills, she gets away with it, only 2 pins, but this pattern has required, although it is scoreable, meaning you can strike a lot, you still have to throw it good.
So Pluhowski will advance 225 to 213. She will face Kelly Kulick, the number 3 seed. Kulick making her 2nd consecutive show, finished 5th at the Cleveland Open. had a low score, but I don't anticipate that being the case here coming up. You see Niwei Finn and Sherry Tan, your top 2 seeds, getting a couple of shots prior to Kelly Kulick taking the stage for her practice and a couple warm-up shots. All right, folks, about that time. It's our first bowling ball giveaway of the Step Ladder Finals. It will be brought to you by Hammer. Again, Hammer bowling ball giveaway coming up. I'll tell you right now, go ahead and exit out of full screen just so you know what's about to take place. Exit out of full screen. We'll have the lower third prompts that you need to see will be available once you do that. But first, a word from one of our proud USBC and PWBA Gold partners, Lane Talk. Semifinals, or match 2, excuse me, next here on BowlTV.
Got some exciting news.
We now have a pro subscription
for bowlers who really want to take their game to the next level.
The biggest thing, you can tag and label each game.
Whenever you use a ball, whatever oil pattern that you're on,
you can now track the ball's performance and compare balls side by side.
It is incredibly powerful, and it is going to help you analyze your game.
Boom! Try Lane Talk Pro free for 1 month. Upgrading the app, and we'll see you on Lane Talk.
Again, 225 to 213.
She got a bowl a little better.
Pluhowski defeats Snodgrass. All right, our Hammer bowling ball giveaway is starting right now. So on your screen, you should see the first lower third prompt. It simply tells you that a giveaway will begin soon. All right, so that's where you need to keep your eyes focused. If you are watching in full screen, you will not see those prompts. Again, if you're watching in full screen, you will not see those prompts. Once the first prompt is complete, you will then see the second. It will ask you to simply click Submit Entry. That is all you have to do to be entered. Click Submit Entry, and you will be entered. Again, this is the first of 3. Next Storm bowling ball giveaway, or next bowling ball giveaway, will be presented by Storm. And then finally, we will close it out in regards to giveaways tonight, courtesy of Brunswick. All right, Sid, a couple of things. One, with regard to Sherry Tan, the top seed, based on what Shannon Pluhowski is doing early, all right, what's Sherry thinking about as she's taking these warm-up shots after each match as the #1 seed, with the understanding that obviously a fellow lefty is on the show?
I think mostly just staying aware. It's easy to lose sight of transition when you're the #1 seed, simply because there's so much that's happening before you get to the pair. But luckily for Sherry, she does get these practice shots in between each round. It's not really about being lined up. It's more about where is the friction and where is the hold, so that way I can follow it and migrate with it as the matches go on.
All right, be sure to click Submit Entry. Hopefully you did that. Just a couple of seconds to do so. All right, now we've honed in on Kelly Kulick. And it's a little bit of a roller coaster today for Kelly. Again, we talked about this morning's block starting off about as well as it can. 257 out the gates. She got a win. Excuse me. Bob J. Bob J., you are a bowling ball winner courtesy of Hammer. Bob J. Paging Bob J. Paging Bob J. You got yourself a bowling ball. Bob, be on the lookout for an email from the BowlTV marketing team. They'll be reaching out to get all of the details and set everything up. Give them 1 to 2 weeks so you know exactly what to do when you receive that email, but be on the lookout for it. All right, so a little bit of, again, the roller coaster. 257 out the gate. She threw all 3 in the 10th to defeat Rocio Restrepo, who gave her an opportunity. 257, 203, 247, 279. Things looked like they were just going well. And all of a sudden, she had some issues with the spare ball, lost a couple of matches. She still bowled well, 221, 229. And then this afternoon, Sid, as you watched 173, 172, it was like, okay, Kelly's in a bit of a different situation here. She was able to right the ship. The anticipation here on where Kelly is going to play and perhaps what bowling balls she is going to be involved in. The attention star has been in the mix. The identity has been in the mix. And she even threw some additional bowling balls earlier this afternoon also.
Yeah, I will say I don't think there's really an option for where you have to play. I think there is one correct answer. We saw at our last event you could play pretty much anywhere you wanted. It could match up to a ton of different styles. This time, not so much. There is one answer, and then it's the pieces that you choose, the bowling balls that you choose are going to be more unique to you as a player to allow you to play in that zone. You have to find the right tool that allows you to be great in that space. To be straight, to be up the lane, you're going to be somewhere between 8 and 11, depending on your rev rate at the arrows.
Kelly having a conversation, as you can see, with Team SPI right there. Rob Gottschall on the left, Joey K on the right. Again, Kelly was here just 2 nights ago. In the stepladder final, she finished 5th. Our eventual champion, top seed, was Stephanie Zavala, who won on her 29th birthday. Now Kelly, at 48 years of old, continues to defy time. See where this shot here ends up.
She rotated that one more. That's what the conversation was about with the reps, deciding what hand position to use. There was a point in Kelly's career where she almost got too versatile and lost who she was. Very thankful to have spent a few years on Team USA with her before she became a coach, and she was just a teammate, and we would talk a lot about that. She would put an emphasis on figuring out who she was again as a player and always walking into the building with, you know, that baseline, my A game, what I'm good at, and then using the versatility skills to adjust and knock down 10, rather than the opposite, rather than asking, you know, what does the lane want from me, and adjusting those versatility skills right away.
Looks like Kelly is going to start. Again, back-to-back shows for Kelly. 26 shows now since the relaunch of the PWBA Tour. Again, 26 now shows for Kelly since the relaunch. She also led 2 rounds. Round 1 leader was Daphne Tan.
Here we go, our second match of the evening, a battle of veterans. Kelly Kulick in her second consecutive show. Shannon Pluhowski trying to get title number 5. Who advances to the semifinals? Let's find out right here. Let's give these ladies a huge round of applause. The 2025 PWBA BowlTV Open.
Daphne Tan led after the first 6 games of qualifying. Kulick was second, then took over the lead. Held it for the first 8 games, or 6 games this morning. Sherry Tan grabbed the lead after the first game this afternoon and kept it. Kulick maintained a spot in the 3rd position. First shot, the legend. Well, I feel like, I was going to say, I felt like that was a repeat of what we saw 2 nights ago on her first shot.
Yeah, my heart stopped for a second because I felt like we were living in Groundhog's Day, just doing the same thing again, and it's obviously not what you want from Kel. You want to see her come out here and put up a great fight. You know, not that she wasn't trying the other night, but it was heartbreaking to see her make it all the way to the TV finals and then have not her best showing.
Look out. You saw it and it was just enough. It was going right just enough at release. That's something to keep in mind because, as we talked about, it was just the spare ball. We didn't see her make any adjustments to anything else, right? It was just the spare ball. So either perhaps the spare ball doesn't have the interchangeable, for example, or the it. So that's something to kind of keep an eye on here. Can Pluhowski take early advantage? She will. However they fall.
This one right of target down lane. However, she is throwing urethane. So it's not going to overreact by any means. Gets the fortunate hit there. Gets the 6, 7, 10 to fall late.
All right, that's a double. Daughter Autumn watching just to our right, sitting on the staircase. Shout out to the entire Pluhowski crew.
Autumn also has softball up currently. She's got her phone propped up
She's
right next
locked
to
in
me.
too. Autumn's got a cannon, by the way. She might be a starting catcher somewhere in college pretty soon. Kulick, frame 2. And she'll have one more opportunity at a 7-pin here.
I feel like this is just how the bowling universe works. It's like every time you miss a spare, the very next frame, you have the opportunity to try again. As simple as it sounds, the first one just looked hesitant to me, the 7-pin spare that she shot. It's so uncommon for Kelly, but it's almost like she's thinking about the miscues on the spares from the last few days.
Hold on. All right. Kelly making another show. I'm sure our line dancing friends are again watching. Hello to all of you. Kulick did fall in the position round to Shannon Pluhowski, 225 to 219. Also lost to Shannon earlier in match play, 226 to 173. Good shot.
Loved this one much more off of Kelly's hand. It was in front of her, a bit more around it. It's so subtle. But if that launch angle isn't quite positive enough, what struggles is the carry. You can get to the pocket, but the carry will struggle.
Pluhowski looking to turn 2 into 3 early. Third frame. All 10 down. Getting to that point, Sid, we talk about longevity. 25 years on Team USA. She's been around this game for so long, originally from Phoenix, has lived in Dayton, Ohio for many years now. She had to do a little bit of work just to get to the qualifying portion. Put up 290 round 2 of qualifying, held on late with 201 to qualify 9th. He said hook early, and boy, Hook did it. Front 4 here for Pluhowski.
It's always interesting what players think versus what the fans think. I thought that one was great off of her hand. She wanted it to hook.
I've learned if you watch Shannon Pluhowski after the shot, whatever reaction she's going to give is the opposite of what we all think. Kulick certainly behind the 8 ball here. And the light mixer carries. Looking much more like the Kulick we watched for essentially the first 18 games or so from qualifying into match play. Take a look.
It's another good one from Kelly. Really the only difference between those first 2 shots and the last 2 is just the last 2 have been more of a positive launch angle. Now, whether she moved her eyes to the left, maybe her feet to the right, or even the first 2 shots were just a miss to the right, we won't really know, but something did change for her.
Trying to cut into this deficit. Yep, she wasn't sure about it and paying the ultimate penalty. I tell you, she hasn't got many breaks that even just allow some makeable situations here.
No, definitely not. It's just high enough to 4-9. As a player, when you miss like that, you're hoping for a 4-pin or just a 9-pin.
This left lane, even kind of going back to Sid at the Cleveland Open. During that step ladder, that left lane was a bit tricky as well. She's going to give it a run. No count there, and you felt like certainly she had to at that point. So she missed the 7-pin, nearly a 7-10 in frame 1. Strike in the 3rd, and then 4-9 in the 5th. 233 right now, the max. But Pluhowski getting a bit more comfortable with each and every frame at this point.
Yeah, when you're pulling somebody like Kelly and they give you 2 open frames in the first 5 frames on a pattern that is scoreable, swing gets a little bit looser.
Can Pluhowski continue the momentum? All right, that time I could see it, Shannon. I could see why you wanted that one to lay off a little bit. 6-pin.
Yeah, that one, the math. I got it. She wanted it to hold, so did we.
Arguably the fastest bowler on tour. Wasting 0 time to shoot this spare. Look out. All right. Look at Kelly. The other thing you got to consider, folks, keep this in mind, is she has now bowled in most games. She's making back-to-back shows. She talked about fatigue a little bit, and the fatigue actually played a role into her success here in this tournament because of the long pattern. She could be slow and didn't have to do too much with the bowling ball. Hook, and that one didn't quite have a chance from the start there. Wash out.
Simple, pull down from the top, miss left. She was playing with that thumb tape again after her shot as well, something to keep an eye on.
All right, she'll grab the count on a small, subtle opening. And Pluhowski did take the purple hammer and just getting a quick look at it, doing a little surgery. Looks like she's removing a little piece of tape. Six frame, and breaks down the split at least.
Gosh, I love what she just said, because I wish that as players we would just be more self-aware of this. She said, I'm trying to make the ball strike. Gosh, and when you try to do that, nothing good ever comes of it. I was in college. We were bowling in Vegas, and unfortunately our coach had knee surgery, and so we had Nathan Bohr with us. And I was bowling really bad. And Nathan looked at me and he said, Sid, you can't make a strike, just throw a good shot. And to this day, I'm so grateful for when he said that, because honestly, it had never passed through my mind that you couldn't control whether all 10 fell down or not. But when you do try to control it, usually bad things happen.
.213 the max for Kelly Kulick. Pluhowski right now pacing at 214. That is way left. And a break for the legend. That one just looked like just a non-executed shot right there, Kelly. You don't see it very often.
No, you don't, but going back to what you said, Emil, she bowled, to run it back for the people, she bowled 12 games 3 days ago, then 16, one on the show, bowled another 12 of qualifying, another 12 here today. This is her 13th game just today. Not only is she going to be physically exhausted, she's also going to be mentally tired. To be present and to have to fight as hard as she did today, specifically in the second round, to stay in the fight for the TV show is something to be applauded, no matter how this final match goes for her.
All right, Pluhowski in a shot that wasn't her best either. Carrie, London, Christopher, and Emerson all watching. If you joined us late, Shannon Pluhowski defeated
Jordan Snodgrass.
Jordan had an opportunity to take care of business there, left the 210 in the 10th frame, had to make it and strike to tie. Was unable to do so, and that one didn't quite get up the hill, but again, a good break in just the single pin.
Yeah, usually when Shan puts her hands in her pockets like that, she's just not thrilled with how she's throwing her shots.
Kulick still with 223 available. Talked about ages. Again, Kulick 48. Pluhowski 42. New Way Finn, the number 2 seed. Warming up down on the low end of the building. The warm-up pairs. Just off to the right there, you see to the right of Kelly Kulick. Pluhowski talking with the Brunswick ball rep, Jason Wojnar. Big shots here. Just a touch lazy.
It is. It almost feels like we're watching the beginning of the second round of match play again for Kel. It's just a little long, a little lazy down lane. That's all it is.
That's a great point, Sid, because this afternoon it truly felt like, and I think you mentioned this and some other players in regards to the true comparison to what this afternoon's round felt like. It was closer to practice, to the practice session. Much tighter down lane than the previous rounds we watched.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Two missed 7 pins for Kelly Kulick.
She just said I need to draw a spare ball. Like, there's a point where it probably just feels that bad. You just gotta chuck it and get out of here. You know, there is a point where she's more than good enough. You know, there's no question of that. She's not going to miss that many and not have something else be wrong. Now, whether that's her focusing on whether or not it's going wrong or the spare ball feeling poor or a combination of both.
9th frame. That's a good one. And a 2-8 for Kulick again. That we watched her perform a little bit of surgery on the spare ball earlier today. It was an issue towards the end of round number 1.
Yeah, our hour and 20 minutes of practice on the very first day of the Cleveland Classic Series. We all thought that this pattern was going to be lower scoring because the back ends felt like what you're watching Kelly face right now. And then we all showed up for the first day of qualifying, and we said, wait a minute, what's this? Which we were excited because it was way more fun than we expected it to be. But ultimately, they saw it here this afternoon in the practice, or excuse me, the second round of match play compared to practice. Felt similar, and now here again today, as Kelly just told all the fans here, they feel just like they did earlier in the second round of match play. Just as tight.
Well, if that's the case, I mean, it certainly favors Sherry Tan because she was still solid. Pluhowski. Of course, now this one is mathematically over. Shannon Pluhowski will advance. She will face New Wei Finn. And now some opportunities if Pluhowski would like to try and or get a look at something else. I'm not sure she would do that, especially considering we anticipate Sherry to be in urethane. The Hustler in particular was the ball of choice a lot of the time for Sherry Tan. But first things first, New Wei Finn's got to step onto this pair here on 23 and 24.
Yeah, I did see Shan and Woj take a very brisk walk to her bag after Kelly left that 2-8. More than likely just to assess, you know, what is there to try? Is it worth trying? It looks like she grabbed a different purple. And I think we saw her throw it on that right lane and then again on this left one. Confirmed, yes, she did grab a different purple to try.
All right, officially in the books here. 2-11 for Pluhowski. Kelly, this one's not going to the way in which you would like.
Yeah, and in typical Kelly fashion, always learning, always trying to get it right. She tries a different bowling ball.
Couple of different things there. Of course, Joey K on the left of Team Storm, then Wojnar, Brunswick, Pluhowski, then New Wei Finn on the other side. She's talking to Rob Gottschall. But 2 wins in the book so far from Pluhowski, who has to run the ladder. Shannon trying to win titles in consecutive seasons for the first time since the relaunch.
Emil, do we know how many matches Shannon won at the end of the first block this morning? Because at least from the second round of match play to right now, she is 8-0.
She actually lost her last 4 matches this morning.
So she is 8-0.
We're going to bring over our remaining finalists for their warm-up shots, and then we will have our semifinal match.
You see New Wei Finn, you see Sherry Tan. There is Wei. She is about to face Shannon Pluhowski, but Sherry Tan will get a couple of warm-up shots on the championship pair. 211 to 171. A matchup, obviously, that Pluhowski got off to a great start. It did not start well, of course, for Kelly Kulick with the opening miscue on the 7-pin. Kind of set the tone, if you will. And some unlucky breaks. Another 7-pin miss late. And Pluhowski was able to kind of take her time a little bit through that match. So New Wei Finn will face Shannon Pluhowski. But first, for you, the Bowl TV community, it is now time for our second bowling ball giveaway. Again, second bowling ball giveaway. This time it is courtesy of Storm. Storm, the leading manufacturer of high-performance bowling balls. Make sure you visit stormbowling.com and always remember to bowl up a Storm. When we return, first we'll hear a word from Storm and then a bowling ball giveaway, and we'll talk more about our upcoming match. You're watching the PWBA Bowl TV Open here on Bowl TV.
What is it about bowling that captivates us so much? Mastery of the game is impossible, but perfection is just within reach. Success seems to lie 60 feet ahead, but the real battle takes place 6 inches between your ears. So if no matter how many times you fail, you would still do anything, and I mean anything, just to get 1% better. We know exactly how you feel.
Again, welcome back. Bowl TV and the Bowl TV Open. Getting closer and closer to determining who our next champion is going to be. Make sure you are out of full screen mode as the giveaway has begun. Again, make sure you are out of full screen mode. The giveaway has begun. You see a lower third on the bottom of your video screen. Just keep your eyes focused there. Once that countdown is complete, you will then be prompted to have another countdown that simply will tell you to click Submit Entry. Click Submit Entry. That is all you have to do. Again, click Submit Entry and you will have yourself possibility of a Storm bowling ball. One of you will. A lot of bowling balls right now on the rack, of course, as Sherry Tang gets set to complete her warm-up shots. And now Wei, who can beat you in many different ways. Sid, her versatility is kind of unmatched in that sense. But that was a popular bowling ball that she threw often. You know, she's going to be in a similar part of the lane in regards to the righties, of course. But when you watch Wei, what stands out for you, Sydney, in watching her game, and then certainly how that translates to this 47-foot lane condition?
Well, my number one thing about Wei in this lane condition is simply that her misses are typically in front of her, typically left. And so that's a benefit here on this pattern. Because if you miss to the right, you're probably staring at a 210, and that's just not a lot of fun. But if you miss in front of you and you're in the correct part of the lane with a bowling ball that is even remotely matched up, more than likely you're going to have a good result, at least with a strike or a single pin, something you can make. And so I love that for her. The second thing that I like about her game that I feel like she's probably been working on is, how do I say? Like I think about it as an impact zone. I'm trying to say it in a different way, but it seems longer. I think most people would call it a flat spot. It's what it's typically referred to as. My brain doesn't see that in the right way. And so I think about it more as an impact zone, where you want to release the bowling ball. Feels like she has more time, has more room. She's quicker at the bottom than we've seen her in previous seasons. I believe she's recovering from an injury over the last few years, and so that probably had something to play into it in previous seasons where it felt like it just wasn't as sharp. But now it's impressive to watch. It's so powerful. It feels like the way that we saw those first few seasons, the 2016 season specifically coming to mind.
Last year it had been 6 seasons in between wins for New Wave Finn before she got back into the winner's circle at the PWBA Greater Detroit Open. This is a player who won the Rookie of the Year award and the PWBA Tour Championship. But the injury affected, that you mentioned, Sid, affected her MCL and patella tendon. And that derailed that early momentum. And so she spent a lot of time, rest, rehab, recovery, strengthening the lower portion, legs, core, etc., to be a bit more physically ready to handle the demands of the PWBA Tour. And so great point in regards to that. Look at New Wei Finn, and as you would expect a champion to do right before this match begins, take a look at what's happening down on the practice pair. This is the equivalent of someone losing the NBA Finals and just staying down and going to shoot free throws after all the cameras are done and the recaps are over. She's out there shooting spares right now. That we can learn a lot right there. Just took the L. We all watched her, just got off the lanes. She's out there shooting free throws, out there shooting spares. A match in front of us here. New Wei Finn taking on Shannon Pluhowski.
Town, here we go. Our semifinal match, Wei versus Pluhowski. Who advances to meet Sherry Tan for the second title here at the PWBA BowlTV Open? Let's give these ladies a huge round of applause.
Last time Wei was in this position, she did cash in Detroit. Said it felt it was a huge relief, and it let her know that the hard work certainly didn't go to waste. That was after her win in Detroit. Here she is again. First shot for New Wei Finn. Kicks that 4-point.
You know, we are now many matches into TV shows on our Jordan and Kobe pair here. And almost every time, at least a righty has chosen where to start, they've always chosen the left lane, which means they all prefer the right one.
Pluhowski. That one certainly looked early.
Yeah, it definitely did. Offline. Hooked too much. It looks like she stayed with the purple that she switched to in the 9th frame of that game to try once she knew that she had match in hand.
Look out. Early spare for Pluhowski. Shannon over to the left lane. 225-213 winner over Jordan Snodgrass. 211-171 winner over Kelly Kulick. And a 6-pin.
Oh, that one, I felt like she tried to keep it online. Firmer, more than likely. You don't really want to move out of the zone that you're required to play in.
Now Wei looking for the double. Oh, that looked very quick, Sid.
It did. Quick, and because of that, right down lane. It's a great attempt from Wei at the spare. It is makeable. Still important to get the count early in the game, though. You never know when at the end of the match if you're going to look back and say, man, I really wish I would have gotten one.
Talked about the journey for Wei. 33 years old, again, two-time champion. Burst onto the scene in 2016. Great shot. Nice rebound.
Wow. That bowling ball continued through the pins a lot better than what we've seen most bowling balls since 2 p.m. today go through the pins. They have gotten tighter down lane as our day has gone on.
Talk about holding right there. I feel like Shannon always has these very subtle moves where she's either throw it harder, small, very small, minute angle changes. Try to jam it in there.
Shannon gonna try and snag a full rack for us here on 24, but
The right lane needs some help.
right lane needs a little assist.
Couple pins. Gives us an opportunity. Other finishers. Rosia Restrepo, a plus 913. Jameson was 7th at plus 867. Madison Janak, 8th at plus 778. Ariane Tay, 9th at plus 775. Brittany Smith was 10th. Back-to-back 300 games during qualifying by Brittany Smith. If you missed that, plus 700. Daphne Tan, 11th, plus 673. And Brianna Klimmer finished 12th at plus 529.
Now we're just fixing our scoring. Because since we hit the re-rack, it thinks everybody struck.
All right, we're ready. Fourth frame. And a little bit of that black 7 there.
I agree with what I just heard Woj say to Shan. Good shot. Really good. Not always going to get 10 when you throw it great, especially when you're throwing urethane on 47 feet.
Oh, oh.
Hey.
That was Flying Eagle-esque right there.
Hey, you made that one.
That was Autumn, by the way. Who said, hey, you made that one?
That was good.
That was such a teenage-like comment.
It was well timed. You got to give her that. Well timed.
That might almost hit the photographer down lane. He probably didn't think he was going to be that close to a flying bowling pin when he accepted this job for the week. Meanwhile, Wei, first opportunity here to double. Maybe? No. 10 pin.
We've seen a lot of messengers go in front of the 10 this week. All the same things I said about Shan and the flat 7. You can just hit repeat for Wei on that one. It's a good shot, especially after the 210. Oftentimes after a miss to the right, you'll see people miss left, but she had enough discipline to just put that one on line, get it close.
Hey, quality spare shooting again here for Wei. Kulick still practicing. There's a good look at the trophy and also the piece of equipment for New Wei Fin.
You know, I do have to say, sometimes you go and you meet your idol, and you're like, oh, this person isn't what I expected them to be. I will say, Kelly is everything you expect her to be. And I think what we got going on down there is exactly why she's worth looking up to, been worth looking up to, and I hope there are little girls at home still doing that.
Another shaker 7 that does not fall here for Wei. Starting to see a few shots from Wei that looks similar to what we just saw from Kelly in regards to as the ball is entering the pins and what pins are being left on the deck. Oh. This is interesting, Sid, because we think about all the high scores that we watched essentially across the board, and we were thinking that this would be a relatively higher scoring stepladder final. The high game here is 225. That's, of course, from Pluhowski, and she shot 211 in the previous match. And even now, right, as the lanes continue to get tighter, it looks like strikes may be hard to come by.
Ooh.
Carry helps, though.
Yeah, after the practice session, most players, the conversation amongst players was, we feel like the second pattern, the long one, is going to be the hardest. Constant conversation. And then not even probably 4 minutes into the practice during yesterday morning, we were like, are we bowling on something different? It almost felt different. It's not. It's just after all the re-oils and all the fun things that happen, right, with lanes being warmer, especially the second set. It just feels different than practice. Practice, they put out all 3 patterns, so it just feels different. But we got really excited yesterday when we saw more friction than we did in practice, and that's where the high scores came from.
7 pin again. Ojnar reacting to every shot, too. He's just kind of in front of us to our left. And I think the last 2 7 pins on this left lane, I think they felt like those were good shots.
Mm-hmm. Especially after such a high-scoring qualifying and then a high-scoring first round of match play. It's great that Shan has somebody in her corner right now saying, you're not doing anything wrong. Right? To have the exact same expectation for scoring in this particular championship round or even the last match play round this afternoon, it's unfair to yourself to say my scoring should be the same as it was during qualifying in the first round of match play, because the lanes are so different. The back ends are much tighter. Your carry is not going to be similar to what it was those first few rounds.
Way back at it. Quality shot. You know, shot quality hasn't been an issue at all so far for Wei.
No, the only one was that first one on the right lane. Bit firm, and therefore to the right with the 210, but everything else has been online. Great shots.
Multi-time medalist, of course, for Singapore. Part of the team that was the most valuable women's federation at the 2021 IBF Super World Championship. Silver medal at the IBF World Cup in 2022. And a double.
First person to double this match.
Now Pluhowski. Trying to hang on to the lead. Oh, maybe. No. Swinging 5 pin here for Shannon. She has left 1 count that was not a 9 count or strike, and that was in frame 1. 225 and 211 in her 2 previous victories here in this stepladder. Semifinals, championship match coming up next. Winner will face top seed Sherry Tan of Singapore. Back to the left lane, where it's been 7-pin, 7-pin. Feeling like, Sid, this is a must-strike situation here.
We have a ball change for a must-strike situation. She's going to go back to the purple that she threw the first game.
Looks at the thumb hole.
And my apologies, it was the first 2 games. She switched to the different purple in the 9th frame of her second match, the one against Kelly.
Big moment here. Switching back again to the purple hammer she used in the first 2 matches. As you saw, took a piece of tape out of the thumb hole. She gave the impression that she did not like it.
I cross with Shannon a lot. I still haven't figured it out. I still have not figured it out.
Meanwhile, Wei for 3 in a row. Wei trying to go ahead and not quite put the stamp on it, but she is getting closer. Max score 237. Max for Pluhowski 228. Strike here, she can't be shut out. Maybe the best one of the match.
It was so good. There's no doubt that one gets 10.
So now Pluhowski is going to finish the match first, just like she did against Jordan Richard, trying to throw the last 4 here, which would be a 5-bagger to end the match and force Wei to win it in the 10th frame. High flush.
I like this purple much more, and the reason is because it hooks sooner. She doesn't feel like she has to shape it. When it hooks soon enough, it's just up the target line, hooks early, slowly migrates into the pocket. With the other purple, it's a bit longer, and so because it's a bit longer, it makes it feel like you have to shape it more because it makes theoretically, it would make a larger shape down lane. But it's not what you want here on this pattern. You want to go as straight as possible.
Dang. Wow. There, Jason Wojnar saying one more good one. Sid, you talk about digging down deep. I feel like that's where Pluhowski is right now.
Yeah, I mean, even when you talk about her wins in her matches in that second block of match play, there's only really one match that stands out with an incredibly high score. Oftentimes, it felt to me sitting back and watching. Like, she was just patient for the win.
This one forces a strike from way. No.
Clean 217 for Shannon.
Well, she did enough to force Wei to still need the first strike in the 10th frame. 9 spare strike is 216. Wei must have. This is for a win.
Hey.
Bang.
That's why she chose the right lane. Her bowling ball just goes through the pins much better on the right lane. It's not even that they're a ton different from a lane play standpoint. It's just that because the left lane hooks a bit sooner, which we learned throughout qualifying, of course, as players are taking notes and talking to reps and friends. We also learned it in our Cleveland Open TV show. It was the same thing. Left lane is earlier. That's why it's so important when you go to bowling centers and your bowling tournaments that you take notes on pairs, because every once in a while you'll find a little bit of information that remains true no matter what you're bowling on, who you're bowling with.
But it's a good place for it. So New Wei Fin will face Singapore teammate Sherry Tan. Saw this movie back in Smyrna during last year's Nashville Classic Series. .224 to 217.
Gentlemen, huge round of applause for our third place finisher, Miss Shannon Pluhowski. We're going to bring over our #1 seed, Miss Sherry Tan. She will get her final practice shots, and then it is our championship match, Sherry versus Wei. Who is going to take home the second title of the week here at the PWBA BowlTV Open?
It is an all-team Singapore final. Again, we saw this last year in Nashville. That time, Sherry Tan, it was the BowlTV Classic, who got the win over New Wei Fin. This time, it's the BowlTV Open. Sherry Tan likes to win anything that says BowlTV Open in the name of the event, or excuse me, BowlTV in the name of the event, whether it's Classic or perhaps whether it's Open. We will find out, but the championship match is set. But first, another opportunity for our viewers to win another bowling ball, this time courtesy of Brunswick. But first, a word from one of our PWBA Gold partners, Kegel, the official lane maintenance provider of the PWBA. Back with you, championship match next here on BowlTV. All right, folks, make sure you are out of full screen mode. Again, full screen mode, so you can see the lower third prompts for our final bowling ball giveaway. Again, full screen mode, so you can see the prompts of our final bowling ball giveaway. Giveaway underway? We are underway. All right, so you should see the lower thirds there. Simply telling you that a giveaway will begin soon. Again, a giveaway will begin soon. After the lower third prompt is complete, You will then be prompted to simply click Submit Entry. Again, Submit Entry. That is all you have to do as we watch Sherry Tan a Hustler urethane you know is going to be in effect. Again, congrats to Christopher. We had Christopher and Bob J, who won bowling balls earlier today. Our final one, again, courtesy of Brunswick. You got a couple of seconds left. I'll see if Sherry will alternate, how much she will throw, how much, I should say, from the practice perspective, will urethane and reactive be in play. And the winner is David. Congratulations, David. And again, congrats to all of our winners. David, again, the opportunity for all of you exists. David clicked Submit Entry, and he was chosen. An email from the BowlTV marketing squad will hit your inbox. Give it about a week to 2 weeks before you reach out. If you don't hear from them in about 2 weeks, certainly reach out. But congrats again. Thank you to all of our gold partners again. Hammer, Storm, Brunswick, Lane Talk, and Kegel. All right, Sid. Sherry Tan, of course, the Southpaw. What a phenomenal first round this morning. Talking about setting the tone and making up pins in a hurry. Which type of bowling ball will she be using? Certainly the question. We'll find that out here. If you had to make a guess, you know, my first guess certainly would have been urethane based on what we watched this morning. Obviously, she's had a chance to practice. Shannon's bowled, or has bowled now, 3 matches on it prior to. If you're Sherry, you're thinking where might she lean, urethane or reactive here?
Well, just from what I'm seeing, I think we could see 2 bowling balls go down the lane, like one on each lane. I think we could see reactive on this left lane because it is so much earlier, and she's going to feel it even more than our right-handed friends are because Shannon is, or was, throwing urethane, which is going to make the lane hook sooner. She threw the pitch black on both lanes. On the right lane, it ran over 100, which came to the left lane, it hooked early. She immediately went to the bag. This is an IQAI. We also saw physics go down the lane. But that was on the right lane. And I thought that the pitch black looked great on the right lane. I believe that was her last practice shot on lane 23.
For Sherry Tan, this will be show number 23. And event number 42. Sherry looks like pointing into the direction of something down on the low end. Maybe a bowling ball there near the practice pair or the warm-up pair. Sister Daphne going down there to be nice and retrieve. She's probably going to get some bubble tea out of that.
That was reactive again. It was a bowling ball. The pitch black and the IQAI are getting put back in the bag by Rob Gottschall.
How about that?
She threw a Tour Dynamics. It looks like a... That's a fun layout. Looks like a short pin layout on a Tour Dynamics. It's going to cause it to be really smooth. It's kind of like the reactive version of urethane in a way.
Obviously, the ball choice here pivotal. Hard to argue with that result.
Yeah, but I've watched her run over 100 with 3 different balls on lane 24. Which one is she going to choose? She could just change balls every frame, you know? That was a XL.
That's just behind Sherry and Way there on the stairwell. Ariane Tay, Bernice Lim, Shayna Ung, of course, members of the squad, Team Singapore. Names about ready. We are about ready. Championship match, second event here of the summer series.
All right.
Our champion of the first one was the Cleveland Open. That's Stephanie Zavala. And now New Wei Finn versus Sherry Tan.
Last year, we had this match and Sherry walked away with the title, but Wei is coming back with a vengeance. Who is going to take the second title of the week, the PWBA BowlTV Open? Let's give these ladies a huge round of applause. 10 grand on the line, right here, right now.
$10,000 to the winner. Wei will step up first. Great shot. Way to start a championship match.
It's interesting that Sherry got lane choice and chose the right lane.
Why?
I mean, she's going to finish on the left one. We haven't seen that yet. Feels like an anomaly.
Tan, the #1 seed, 2 blocks of plus 188, plus 103. Interesting to start there. Plaque 7 again, plus 288, plus 203. I beg your pardon. Just shortened Sherry 200 extra pins there. Again, that's how dominant she was. 1488 this morning, 1403 this afternoon. The stretch of 278, 290, 243, 257 really set off the alarms in the building. That was this morning. She started with 279 in the afternoon, took the lead and never gave it back.
She did start with a physics on that right lane. It was the very first ball in practice that she got on that right lane. She threw the physics, the pitch black, a tour dynamics, and then an XL. She went with the very first one that went down the lane.
Gotta tell you, Sid, won't know what that is like, right? You got so many options trying to figure it out and whittle it down to, what you think is going to help you win a title. A lot to decipher in such a small period of time. You only get 10 frames. Good view. High flush.
It's also why Sherry is such a champion too, right? Because she used urethane for most of the match play block, if not all of it.
Just about.
And now we're going to bowl for a title, and she's willing to give up what got her here for an opportunity to win. Willing to be uncomfortable. Willing to take a risk.
Wei Finn looking pretty darn good here. Nice double, 2 back-to-back shots that look great. And really, even going back to the match, of course, against Shannon and Pluhowski, I didn't see back-to-back shots as good. The execution, certainly, but in regards to down lane motion, wasn't a lot of 10 back until later in that match.
Yeah, it definitely took until the 9th and 10th frame from Wei to see that.
For 3 in a row. And, almost got me, Sid. Rington almost got me.
I agree with her teammates. All of her teammates right next to me. Great shot.
Good shot indeed.
That was a fast one.
Shot just hang just down lane just enough as it was entering the 1-3. Didn't quite continue.
Yeah, that left lane earlier, tighter down lane. It's going to happen every once in a while.
Spare is made. If you're just joining us, this is the championship match. All Singapore final. Sherry Tin, the #1 seed, versus the #2 seed, New Wei Finn. Wei advanced by defeating Shannon Pluhowski 224 to 217. Our stepladder final began with Shannon Pluhowski defeating Jordan Snodgrass 225 to 213. Then Pluhowski went on to defeat Kelly Kulick, the #3 seed, 211 to 171. Seven pin. Oh, it goes. Subtle fist pump there for Sherry.
I do not love the way this ball's going through the pins on the right lane. Almost the same back-to-back leave. Little help from, I believe, the head pin to get the 7 out. But realistically, she has to pay attention to the fact that those were almost 2 of the exact same leaves.
For Sherry now, 8th season of competition here on the PWBA Tour. This is her 14th show and her 42nd event. That is 33% of the time she has made a show. For 3, yes indeed.
This one was really good. Directly up the lane. Great continuation through the pins.
Now Wei quickly responding in the 4th.
Yeah, what you can see on camera here is Sherry's switching out thumbs. She's switching out thumbs. She's putting a thumb in a different bowling ball. She's going to go to, it looks like the XL on that right lane.
I feel like we had this conversation, Sid, probably 2 nights ago. And we saw Stephanie Zavala's top seed open up, throwing 1 ball on each lane. Ultimately decided to stay with the Sublime focus on the left lane. And now Sherry starts with 1 ball and might, as you just talked about, looks like me go to the XL on the right lane. We'll see if that's the case. Meanwhile, Wei for a double. Nope, it was left the whole way and paid the ultimate price and penalty.
Yeah, she knew it too immediately. Sometimes it didn't feel like you could, quote unquote, point the ball enough on this pattern, but as it does start to break down, if you get it too far in front of you and you don't have enough hold to your left, you can be staring at a 3-7 combination.
So get 3. First player to open is Wei in frame 5. New look. Nearly a worse result, but the 10 pin falls late, leaving just the 7 pin.
Very similar reaction. You can tell from the colors of that bowling ball that it just never quite gets into a roll. They're still spinning even as it enters the pins. And every once in a while when your ball's not rolling, you can strike, but it's not going to happen as often as you would like.
Sherry bowled the least amount of events she's bowled on tour in 2021. That was just 2. And of course, still some COVID restrictions, certainly in regards to travel at that time. Pin lead through 5 frames here for Sherry Tan. Again, this is her 14th show. 14th and her 42nd event. And this season started off a little slow. A couple of cashes. Got to a check in Kansas. Missed the Queen's top 64, which was obviously super rare. Then caught a check just inside the cash line at the Cleveland Open. And now an early lead here of 22 pins in the championship match of the BowlTV Open. And another 7-pin. 7-pin city. Looks like Sherry's got to be really perfect, she said.
It does. It does. It just looks like the ball's not getting into a roll, which is why when it hits the head pin, it wants to deflect to the left. It's not in the strongest position that it could be going through the pins.
Last year, Sherry had her best year on tour. Bowled 11 events. It was actually the longest stretch we had seen Team Singapore compete on tour. Cashed in all 11, made match play 7 times, made 4 shows, and of course captured the BowlTV Classic in Nashville, where she defeated teammate Wu Wei Fin.
And what's so interesting about this match right now is Wei's ball reaction is much better than Sherry's. And still, Sherry is leading in this match through 5 frames.
Six frame for Wei. Great look there. If you're joining us late, double 9 spare strike open and a good looking shot here in the 6 from Wei. It's interesting how that works, Sid, as you just talked about. Ball reaction better in regards to New Wei Fin. In that sense, that Sherry, obviously, even though the ball's deflecting, of course, she's leaving things she can make. The big difference right now, of course, the split, which took place the last time Wei was on the left lane. Light mixer.
It appeared she made a move there as well. Sliding a bit further left than the last time she was on that lane. Target about a board further left at the arrows. She could have felt like the last one wasn't totally her. Of course, it was a miss to left, but maybe she expected it to have a better result, maybe a 3-6-10 or to go just a bit high. But it split, so she made a move anyways.
Great shot.
That one actually got into a roll down lane. Comparison to the other one, she is going to stick with throwing 2 different bowling balls. The amount of commitment that it takes to, she's almost flat 7 4 times this match. Fortunate for her, it's just 3. To have the commitment to stick with these ball changes and throw it great takes, it's so much discipline to not try and make one strike. Kind of like Kelly said a couple matches ago, I'm trying to make it strike when I'm not getting those hits that I want. Got a lot of respect for that level of discipline.
And another quality shot that results in a 7-pin for Sherry Tan. That's the 4th of the match.
And honestly, it should be 5, right? But she gets the fortunate hit in the 3rd frame, which gave her the triple in frames 2, 3, 4.
Oh no. Well, we've seen a few missed 7-pins during the step ladder today. And now one from our top seed here. Golden opportunity here for New Wave Finn. 8th frame. High flush. Oh, the kick on the 4 from the 7-pin. Head pin hit the sidewall, clips the 7. 7 goes into the 4 like dominoes.
It's my favorite hit in bowling. Love a trip 4.
One-pin advantage. Strike here away cannot be shut out. And delivers again. Just like she did in the previous match in the semis against Shannon Pluhowski.
I was just thinking as I watched this one go down the lane, that's a bit firm. Luckily, it's on the left lane. She came back, sat down next to her teammates, and said, "Oh, that was a bit fast." Of course, giggling about it. I'm like, oh, no big deal. It still struck.
Sherry Tan, who was 5-2 as the top seed coming into this one, now in trouble. She is going to need the back 4 to have a chance here. First one is a beauty. The last 2 on the right lane with that bowling ball. Spectacular. Sherry Tan max score 226. And the 7-pin is still the bugaboo.
And she did make the change to the XL on this left lane. Mind you, while she needed one.
She will need a mark in the 10th, assuming Tan makes the spare, but you can't assume that, of course. She just missed one 2 frames ago on the same lane. That one is converted. Nine or better here on the fill would force a mark from way in the 10th frame. Great shot. Wei sitting on 2 titles. The third one is 1 shot away. Perhaps for a win. There it is. New Wei Fin, a champion again on tour now for the 2nd consecutive season, the 3rd overall.
What a fun leave.
Boy, Wei has had some interesting leaves after the one she needed, of course. The old 4, 5, 8. Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 2025 PWBA BowlTV Open champion, New Wei Fin. We will have our trophy presentation here momentarily.
New Wei Fin, ladies and gentlemen, has won 3 titles, and she has defeated Sherry Tan all 3 times. Tour Championship, Greater Detroit, and now the BowlTV Open.
Well, congratulations. I'd ask you guys how your stay in Cleveland is. You're enjoying the sights, but you spent all your time in the finals because you guys are putting up such big numbers and just taking names. So congratulations. Way to make the way up last couple games here and finish the deal. Congratulations again.
Title number 3. How does it feel? So this was actually a rematch, different city, different location, but we were in Nashville. Last year was the BowlTV Classic. This is the BowlTV Open. We met Sherry, number 2 seed, number 1 seed. She got you last year, but you walked away with the win this year. What was the difference?
I think I'm a lot smarter this year. Like last year, I made a lot of ball change. Yeah, but this year I stick to one ball. I make better shots. Yeah.
I like that. Is there anybody that you would like to thank?
Roto Grip, guys, and my whole SBF team, and my teammates, Coach Jason, and Sean, and Robert, and Joey.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 2025 PWBA BowlTV Open champion, Miss Wei Fin. Congratulations, guys. Congratulations. Thank you all for coming out. We still have one more event left, the Rock and Roll Open, brand new format that we're introducing here on the PWBA Tour. Thank you all for coming out. Hope you have a great night, and we will see you tomorrow. Watch all the action on BowlTV all season long.
You didn't have a teleprompter going. All right, folks, as you can see, of course, a couple photos real quick, the immediately important ones, and then we'll try to get Wei into the booth here. First of all, Sid, boy, Wei's look got better as she continued to bowl. The execution was great. Sherry simply just couldn't get the 7-pin out. We talked about the number of bowling balls that were possibilities for her. She does make or add a ball to that during the finals, but I think Wei's situation just a little bit a little bit better, and that's the difference here.
Yeah, I think the right got better, as time went on. We saw that during qualifying. We saw that during match play. And so it feels pretty normal for that. Sherry and Shannon talked about the struggle of getting a read off of one another is what I would say. And when they crossed the pairs from one another, it was a struggle. And so now they had to bowl together on this pair for all of practice and the matches. So I think it just made it really hard for the both of them to have great carry at the end of it. So it makes sense that Wei would have an awesome look by the end of the match.
Well, we will ask Wei about that here in just 1 second. She is set to join us here momentarily. All right, Wei, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
We are here again, and you earned this opportunity once more. We were just talking about, Sid and I, about your look getting better over time across 2 matches. Of course, ultimately, what was the difference? And you just talked about not thinking about bowling balls. So what bowling ball was it, and why was that the one to remain with, especially in the finals?
I think it was just what was working throughout match play. Like from the first block to the second block, like there were only 2 balls I could use. And it was the Ion Max and the Attention Star S2. Then after the first day, then Sean got me to draw another Attention Star, the original one, which is cleaner with the same layout as the S2. And that's what I used in the finals.
So you had the right game plan, of course. This is not your first time, obviously, being here in the United States, and everything that goes into coming over here. Why is it still important for you and as a group to continue to bowl against the best in the world here on the PWBA Tour?
It's to keep us sharp. Like my coach also, like from week in, week out, he will give me feedback about my game, and he realized that I've become sharper with my moves. Like even from Topeka and Queens, like he said that's what he noticed. So I think being out here on tour helps me with that. Because like there's different lane pattern and different oil and different bowlers. Yeah.
The ability to continue to be great all the time. I'm curious if you keep bowling Sherry. You're 3-0 against her now, or excuse me, 2-1 in the finals. But why is it always special just to be able to bowl against another teammate in that sense?
I don't know. I just see her as another opponent, but it's just an opponent that I'm familiar with. But there's nothing that is cross. It's like she's just bowling her game, I'm bowling my game. Like it's not like I can do anything to affect her game. Yeah, I just do my best and she does her best.
Does she get to buy you like bubble tea now or anything like
that? No. No.
Well, it looks like your physical game is as sharp as I've ever seen it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
It's incredible. Just the leverage that you have at the bottom of the swing, the power that you have is some of the best on tour right now. Is there something that you have focused on over the last year to allow that to happen, or is it still recovering from injury and now it's just back to normal Wei?
I think that most of the credit goes to my strength and conditioning coach, Joshua, back home in Singapore. He works for the High Sport Institute. So he does focus a lot on injury prevention. So like if there's anything I'm weak on, like the glutes or core, he makes sure that it's always in the program. So that's why like my balance I feel is better and I'm not aching as much. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. And then on top of that, it felt like you were so in control of the match. We saw you split on the left lane. Curious, do you feel like that was you or the lane? And did you make any changes in the next frame?
I felt it was me, but knowing this pattern, it's supposed to give me a lot of hole. So if I don't have hole, then maybe it's not me. Then I'll just move. So I just made a move. I consulted with Shay, and Shay said just move. So I trusted that and just move.
I think it paid off.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Shayna was waiting to get that credit right there. She was waiting to hear it. I'm just playing. Congrats, Wei. I know you got some more media to do and more bowling to do tomorrow. Congrats again. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, that is New Wei Finn, your latest champion here from the Summer Series in Cleveland and the BowlTV Open. All right, Sid, we'll go ahead and close this thing out here. First of all, obviously, we just heard from Wei in particular. We talked about bowling balls. We talked about injury prevention and the balance and just how important those things are. Your final takeaways from what we watched tonight.
Team Singapore continues to get better, not just from the stepladder, but with how many players that they had in the final 12 here at this event. And we're just seeing them continue to grow and improve. And I think it's something that we can all pay attention to, their dedication to the sport. It's something that pays dividends.
Dividends indeed, and the opportunity here for us to continue to break coverage is phenomenal. That was event number 2 of the week. One more, and it begins tomorrow. The Rock and Roll Open, again, qualifying back underway at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Sid will be back on the lanes as well. Big thanks to all of you for watching. Certainly, big thank you to the United States Bowling Congress and the USBC Board, the Bowling Proprietors Association and the BPAA Board, Kegel, the official lane maintenance provider of the PWBA, the wonderful athletes. Again, congrats to New Wei Finn and our entire stepladder crew tonight. And finally, you, the BowlTV community. We will see you back here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Time for Sydney Brummett, Spencer Mosier, Mike Flanagan, Kayla Smiley, and Curtis Von Kruger, and our entire crew and staff. We say so long for now. This has been a presentation of the BowlTV Open. You watched it live and only on BowlTV. And remember, bowling lives here. Good night, folks.